Welcome to my video. Today I have some different dinner ideas. I'm just walking you through a few dinners that I made, and I hope it provides some inspiration for you. First, ground turkey stuffed peppers. This is such a good meal, and it's kind of an all-in-one meal because you have your veggie, your carb, your meat, everything all in one dish. So I really don't feel like I ever need to have a side dish when I'm making stuffed peppers. And so first I just cooked a cup of rice according to instructions, and then I got my onion and my garlic sauteing. I add in 2 big scoops of tomato paste. Later I actually added a third because I felt like I needed it, and just let all of that cook together. Once the onions are soft, I went ahead and added my ground turkey. I like to make this with ground turkey, but you can definitely use ground beef, and added some salt and pepper and some Italian seasoning, and then just let that all cook up nicely together. And then I went ahead and added my extra scoop of tomato paste. Once my ground turkey was completely cooked through, I went ahead and added my rice and just mixed that all up. And then I went ahead and stirred in about a cup of cheese. Either Monterey Jack cheese or Italian blend cheese, both really work well. Then it was time to stuff the peppers, and I just kind of cut out the top, remove any seeds that need to be removed, and stuff my peppers. I just put my filling inside the pepper, and then I top with some additional cheese. Covering your peppers with foil helps make sure that the peppers all cook really well. I just cook them for about 35 minutes at 400 degrees. And then uncover and cook another 10. These are really good topped with fresh parsley if you have any on hand. Now, a whole chicken made in the air fryer. You guys, I will never go back to cooking a whole chicken any other way. This makes such a good chicken. The skin ends up crispy, the meat ends up juicy. It's just such a good way. So first, remove anything on the inside of your chicken, wipe it down with a towel, and then you're going to coat it with some olive oil and your seasonings of choice. I cut up some onion and put that in the cavity, and then secured the legs with some kitchen twine. Now, cooking is super easy. Just put it in your air fryer, breast side down, cook it for 30 minutes at 350. And then after that, you're just gonna flip over your chicken, cook it on the other side for 25 to 30 minutes, and then it's done. I would definitely use a meat thermometer to make sure it's at least to 165 degrees, just because it's not good to mess around with poultry, but it probably will be at the end of that. But then you're ready to enjoy your crispy and juicy whole chicken. This is such an easy meal to make, and I love it because it just kind of feels fancy. I actually ate my chicken with some tzatziki dip and then just paired it with some potatoes I had made earlier that week and a can of green beans. So it was actually a super easy dinner. This is a garlic parm chicken and veggie skillet meal. So you make it all in this one dish. And I love this for like a quick weeknight meal. You're just gonna take 2 or 3 large russet potatoes, chop it up into little cubes, which is kind of satisfying to actually watch sped up. Now just saute those in some olive oil, maybe with some salt and pepper, just until they're nice and soft. You definitely want to give this enough time for them to get completely soft because nobody likes crunchy potatoes. Well, maybe you do if they're supposed to be crunchy, but these are not. And then I'm going to remove those and saute a packet of mushrooms and a bag of spinach. Those don't take long to cook at all. And then I'm moving on to cooking my chicken. So I have about 3 chicken breasts that I diced up, just cooking it, same thing with olive oil, salt and pepper, till it's at least 165 degrees, tossing everything together. Now I'm just grabbing my Buffalo Wild Wings garlic parm sauce. This parm sauce is so good. I like to use the whole thing for this meal, but you can do you if you like it less saucy or want to save a little calories, that's fine. So you can use less if you want. I use the whole thing. And then I top it with a little cheese. Whatever cheese you want is really fine. Let it just melt down a little bit. And then you have this delicious, saucy skillet meal. It is seriously so full of flavor and so good. This sheet pan sausage, broccoli, and potatoes is another just easy, delicious whole meal made all in one dish. So you're gonna just take your sausage. I use just 1 pack of this big sausage link, and I like to do turkey, and chop that up. And then take 2 or 3 russet potatoes, chop those all up. And then take some fresh broccoli, or really, if you want different veggies, that works fine. Just dice it up nicely and put it all on your sheet. Then I'm just spraying this with olive oil, and I'm taking out some steak seasoning. You know, you can really use a lot of different seasonings for this. I use steak seasoning and it's really good like that. And then you're just gonna bake for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees and dinner is ready. Now, homemade pizza crust pizza. This is so amazing. I've done different packets that work well. This time I'm just using everything from scratch. And honestly, I'm just going to be real with you guys. This was not the best pizza crust I've ever made. I think the flour blend I used wasn't super great. I'm gluten-free, so I have to obviously use a gluten-free flour blend. And this one I used this day was like a chickpea base. And it was just not quite as good as usual. So if you're gluten-free, I would always go for a flour blend with a rice base. It just tastes so much better. Maybe not quite as health conscious, but you know, that's okay. I've recently been getting into sourdough baking, and I would really love to make a sourdough pizza crust. That is definitely on my list of things that I need to start doing, because doesn't that sound absolutely delicious? The flour I've been baking mainly my sourdough dishes with is the Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 rice-based flour, and so I definitely recommend that. So I think whether you're doing a sourdough pizza crust or just a regular pizza crust, I recommend that one. I'll definitely have the exact measurements and recipe I used for this crust down below. Right now I'm just mixing it. I got a KitchenAid mixer off Facebook Marketplace, and I have been absolutely loving it. It is totally a game changer. For this pizza crust recipe, you actually bake the pizza crust completely first, and then, or about completely first, and then you add your toppings. So I'm just spreading that out, and then I'm gonna bake my crust, and then I can add everything I wanna add. I definitely recommend always using actual pizza sauce, not just like regular marinara sauce. It makes such a difference. Pizza sauce just tastes so much better. And then I'm adding in my cheese. So this is shredded mozzarella, but I also got some fresh mozzarella that is just so delicious on there. And I also got some turkey pepperoni, and I got some fresh basil from our garden, but Reese, my 3-year-old, did not want the fresh basil on her half, so basil only went on some. And you see little hands there helping me. What a good little helper she is. And so she got to put the pepperoni on. But while she was putting the pepperoni on, she was being very, very vocal that no basil should go on her half, which is totally fine. My little helpers like for me to turn on the oven light so they can watch. And here is our amazing, delicious pizza with homemade crust. How great does that look? Now, homemade pesto, grilled cheese. For the past few years, Kyle has been growing fresh basil in this little planter. And so one of my favorite things to make is fresh pesto. I've made this several times this summer for the past few years, and I don't really have an exact recipe. I just pack down a bunch of basil leaves and then add about maybe 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1/8 cup of lemon juice. I love the taste of lemon in my pesto. Add a tablespoon of garlic, maybe a teaspoon of sea salt, and then blend it up in my NutriBullet. This makes the best pesto in my opinion. You can also add Parmesan cheese if you want. It's great to use as a spread on sandwiches. Just this amount will really be plenty for a batch of pasta if you just add a little olive oil. It's pretty dense. Something about me is that I love kitchen gadgets. I probably have too many. I have to find a place to put them all. But one of the things I love is my panini maker. It makes such good sandwiches. And so it's just another kitchen gadget I definitely have to find a place for. I actually keep this in my basement because I don't pull it out that much, but I'm so glad I have it whenever I do. I also wish I would have had some fresh mozzarella this day instead of just the shredded mozzarella, but it's okay, it worked. So I just put turkey, mozzarella, and then pesto on my bread, topped it with a little butter, and these sandwiches were absolutely delicious. These quesadillas are so simple. I almost didn't include it, but we have just been loving them. I've been making them almost once a week. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to include it because we're loving them so much. I really just take some Mexican cheese, put it on top of my tortillas, which are on the flat section of my stove, and add my meat. I pre-made a bunch of turkey meat, ground turkey, taco meat. So I had that already made, and then just after a while, flipped them over, and these are so delicious. The outside is crunchy, the inside is all melted together. I usually put my sauce on after they're cooked, but sometimes I put the sauce on while they're cooking. It's just personal preference, really. And yeah, that's all you have to do for these. All right, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Be sure to check the description box for links to recipes. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram if you'd like to connect with me there. And I'd love if you subscribed if you're new to my channel.